Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Captain CA here. Apologize for my voice. I've been battling a sinus infection, a really bad one, since I came back from the Houston fishing show. Today was the first day I was able to get out on the water, catch a few fish, get some lesson stuff done for FlatsClassUniversity.com, but I wanted my YouTube audience to have a quality video. And I want to talk a little bit about the ultimate snag-proof or weedless setups that you can use. Now, there are 4 of them that come to mind that I think are not only easy to use, but they're still lethal. They will allow you to have that positive hook set that you're looking for, yet you'll still be able to negotiate all the structure and cover that you have to present inside of to catch those trophy game fish. The first one that comes to mind out of the top 4 is this one. The Pro Bullets. That would be number 1. The Pro Bullets is a piece of terminal tackle that Z-Man came out with a couple of years ago that has probably got most of the compartments in my BUZBE tackle system. It has monopolized it, let's just say that. Here's one, if I can showcase it for you right here. You can see it's a Texas style jig head, weight forward. You'll notice that the line tie is incorporated in the head itself. So there's nothing protruding, there's nothing sticking up to catch grass. This is maybe one of the more weedless jig head style pieces of terminal tackle I've ever used, and it works. It plays brilliantly with a number of profiles, the big ballers for one, but paddle tails, jerk shads, kicker crabs, any of my stick baits, the darters, all of them work extremely well. The trout trick, they all work great with this. Because it's weight forward, it gives me really nice casting distance. It gives me good accuracy because most of the weight is right there at the head, so that when I make a driving cast, it's going to go exactly where I'm looking. So I'm going to be able to place it where I want. And it comes in a variety of head weights, from an 1/8 all the way to, I believe, 3/8. So it accommodates a lot of the Z-Man Elastec baits, but you can use this with standard Plastisol baits as well. It's a really nice tool for anyone looking to have the ability to cast over a distance. I use this in grass. I can use this as a skipping bait underneath docks. I can swim controlled over shell beds and things like that. So it is a really solid choice for me when I'm looking at what works and what doesn't work. When I'm thinking Texas style, I'm thinking easy without having to rig up a tungsten bullet weight and whatnot. This is definitely the way to go. Now you can, if you've got a jerk shad or a ballers, you can put a loop knot on this. Typically though, if I'm working a bait where I want bottom contact, I would definitely put a snug knot on this where I could make contact with the bottom and feel it at all times. But if you're looking for one piece of terminal tackle that will really change your game, and I'll give you a close-up look at this thing, really change your game, really consider that one there. This is one of those jigs that really does a really good job. You know, I love how this thing behaves, how it works. It does a great job for me. All right, moving on to number 2. 2 would be the ZWG swim bait hook. And this would be more like what you're accustomed to. It's a keel weighted, this is a keel weighted hook, and it has a keeper in the front. It has a little silicone bead if you look up inside the cavity there on the bottom, and it keeps the bait from wanting to come down with hard casting. You could skip this bait. I use it a lot with jerk shads and paddle tails. These have been very, very handy for me. I'm going to give you a close-up look. Here's some packaging right here. This is a 4/1/8. What's also really nice is Z-Man was smart enough to denote the weights like right there on the belly weight itself. That way they're easy to organize and you know what you have when you pick it up. You're not guessing what weight it is. Comes in a couple of different sizes, 3, 4, and 5/0, I believe. So most of the Inshore, Elastec, or any soft bait profiles, this is going to work really well with. For me, I use this for skipping bushes, skipping underneath docks, working over oyster clumps, working in heavier turtle grass. If I find that I have suspending grass or anything like even floating grass, this is going to work a little bit better for me. The weighted hook gets it underneath that and it's able to negotiate and break free. Lots of times I'll set the head where the knot is up inside the head itself. I'm going to take this apart for you, deconstruct it if you will, so I can show you some more parts of it. You can see there's a keeper here, a little plastic keeper here. And then you see the little silicone bead that you can adjust here at the bottom. And all that does is keep that tail. Lots of times when you're making those hard casts or those hard skips, you'll have that bait slide down a regular EWG hook all the time. And it'll just run, it'll make you crazy. It really will. But they've done a fantastic job constructing this and making it so that it will last. High quality hook, ultra point hooks. They did a really good job with that swim bait hook. So those first two are really what, again, monopolize my tackle system. All right, now I'm going to show you one that many of you may not know at all. So let's get to that one right now. And that would be a shaky head. Why a shaky head? This is kind of a bass bait style, but it works extremely well in what I call salt and pepper bottom. The Texas guys know what that is, and the Florida guys know what that is, where you have that sand and sparse grass kind of mix. You see it in coves a lot, places like that. Although this rig will work well in regular eel grass or anything like that as well. Here's a look at it right here. I use it mostly with stick style baits. This is the big TRD. I use it with the darters. I use it with the trout tricks. I use it with the zinkers, but any of your Cinco style baits. And what happens with this is it sits on the bottom on this ball head. This ball head is making contact. I don't tie this with a loop knot. I tie it with a snug knot. So it connects right here. So I'm on the bottom. Notice how I've buried the hook in the bait. These baits are super, super soft, these Z-Man baits. They're made from an Elastec material that is very stretchy. So when a fish eats it, you can snatch him. I mean, just snatch him and it will punch that hook right through there. So you don't have to sit there and push this all the way through and skin hook it and worry about getting it perfect. I can get it perfect every time because I just bury it in the middle of the bait, period. This is a fantastic setup because you're making contact with the bottom with this bait and you're just walking along and it stands up just like I'm showing you here. This is how this has worked across the bottom. Now this works extremely good post front, cold front days where it's real cold, fish are lethargic, they're kind of tight to the bottom. Works good for you redfish tournament guys where the fish are pressured and they don't want a lot of movement. You can move this bait so slow by just shaking the tip a little bit, taking a quarter turn on your reel, shaking the tip a little bit, taking another half turn on your reel, shaking the tip a little bit, take another half turn on your reel. And you can walk this stuff across potholes, through troughs, along sandbars. It is absolutely a deadly tool. You just have to work it slow. If you're not afraid to work it slow, it's great, and it's completely weedless. I work this in a lot of zones. It works fantastic. The round head moves through grass easy. If you were to have a football head or something like that, it would get hung and snagged all the time. I've tried them all, but this works extremely well. And if you look at it, you can see how the head is. I'm going to deconstruct this one as well so you can take a good look at it. These can be purchased at sodiumusa.com. You can find shaky head baits or lures or jigs, I should say. But this is one of those jigs that I employ a lot. I use a lot of them between 1/8 all the way up to 1/4. Just depends on current, depends on depth. But when I'm absolutely positively trying to catch a pressured fish or I'm in tough conditions, that shaky head works every time. All right, I've got one more really weedless one I want to share with you next. And that is the wobble head or Texas eye style heads. Now, the way these are, and I'm going to give you a quick shot at the product packaging. These are basically the best of both worlds. You've got an articulating head on a weedless EWG. Now, it's different than the Pro Bullets. The Pro Bullets is fixed, which makes it a better skip bait. It makes it a truer running bait. This one gives you some crazy action on the bait. It really does. So when you're thinking Texas eye, you're thinking wobblehead, you gotta be thinking fish are active. You're trying to bring attention to the bait. Because as much action as this tail has when it's moving through the water, okay, when it has this wobblehead on it, this Texas eye on it, it gives it so much more body roll. So if I'm fishing mullet schools, menhaden schools, if I'm trying to draw fish in the dark, under darker skies, windy days, where I'm just trying to cover water, expand the strike zone, if you will, so that I can just cover water faster, this is a great way to do it. Again, they've kind of minimized the line tie so it does not snag as much. It's upswept so it's able to slide over things. It's got that three-dimensional eye on it. It's got some serious hooks. This is the XL version. I'm using this on the 5-inch paddle tail. I like these diesel minnows, and I think they even have more action when I'm working them with the Texas eyes. But again, this is for active times. This is when the fish are going off and you are just trying to cover water to find that one big target and you're looking for it. This is a great way to do it. And if you've got floating grass, if you've got suspending grass, if you need to work it through taller grass, like I have this stalky stuff that grows up here on the Nature Coast. It's leafy and it's got bulbs on it. It's like a pepper grass that grows on the rock. I'm able to go right through it with this. I really am. To me, it is important to be able to have tools that allow me to fish the way that I want to fish. And by having some of these incredible pieces of terminal tackle in my system that I can fish where I want. I can fish around wood, I can fish around rock, I can fish around oyster, I can fish around man-made structure, grass, vegetation, trash just that's floating around. It's invaluable. And inevitably, that's where the best fish always are. Hopefully, you looking at this, me revealing some of these pieces of terminal tackle will put you in the know now. If you found value in this, hey, please, by all means, give us a like. We deserve it. And please subscribe. I'd love you to smash that subscription button and have you here every day in my virtual classroom. And if you learned a lot here today with this little bit of knowledge, let me tell you, go over to FlatsClassUniversity.com. If you go over there, we do deep dives into the nuances of inshore fishing. And I promise you, I'll make you a better inshore angler.